Hey, this is Russell Brunson, and I want to show you behind the scenes of a really successful automated webinar funnel. Actually, this funnel began as just a webinar funnel, and then since then we've kind of migrated into an automated webinar funnel. Both of these you can build really easily inside of ClickFunnels. But I want to show you just kind of the psychology behind a lot of what I did and why and things like that. So first thing is I did put the logo at the top. Some people always ask me, why do you have a logo there? And part of me is because for me this is more of a branding play as well, not just straight sell thing. So you don't have to have that on top, but that's the reason why I did it. And then I wanted to find a really cool image which is different. Okay, for me, marketing is all about pattern interrupts. How do I change their perspective when they come to this page and they see this weird thing that they haven't seen anywhere else? So I used this picture that came from one of our videos. And then I tried to figure out a really good hook for this webinar. And so, the people show up for webinars based on curiosity. Like that's kind of it. So you have to give them something they can't figure out just on their own. And so I really focused a lot of times on this headline, and it turned out really, really good. It's been amazing for us. So it's my weird niche funnel. It's currently making me $17,947 per day, and how to ethically knock it off in just 10 minutes or less. And I have my reserve their seat thing. They can reserve their seat. So that's kind of the first page here. Then I also have obviously the date and the time. I have some urgency, scarcity. I also added in some of the things they're going to learn on this webinar, which these are the 3 secrets that they're going to learn on the webinar. And if you've ever gone through my webinar training, that's what I kind of teach is you need one kind of headline for it, which there's my headline, and then 3 proven secrets. And that's kind of how you structure the whole content of your training. But I also put those things right here on the actual landing page. And I have this big, huge bonus for them showing up right here, which is we're going to give them a done-for-you funnel, and then I have, again, the call to action again here as well. So that's kind of the registration page that we drive all the traffic to, both from email and from Facebook and from all the different avenues, as many as we can, okay? So that's kind of how we structured the registration page. Now, if you're doing this live, ClickFunnels integrates with either GoToWebinar, which we did for this campaign, or you could also do with Webinar Jam. If you're doing it as an automated webinar, you can just upload your video to ClickFunnels, and it'll work from there. So for that, we just did if it was an automated webinar version, you'd pick the date and the time on this pop-up as well. So that's kind of how that works. And that's kind of how we do the first page in the funnel. And again, the biggest things here are pattern interrupt, really compelling headline, curiosity-based headline. They can't just figure it out on their own. And I think those are the 2 core things that really get things to happen. Now, the next page is after they opt in. Then we take them to a page like this. And I added this link here later because we had a lot of people who were saying that they register through here and GoToWebinar automatically subscribed them, and they may not have got the email. So I add this button back here where they can just click on this and go back to GoToWebinar again if they wanted to. And then I have this thing that says, here's your event ticket. And again, I've done different ways like this in the past. Some of these look a little bit different, but this one worked really, really good because we made a lot of money on the live webinar, but we also made a lot of money before the webinar ever started. So what I did is I just had, here's the event ticket for this webinar. I have a video kind of telling them, hey, here's what to expect, and follow these steps. So I said, step 1, write down the dates and times of your event. Step 2, get your free ClickFunnels account here. And step 3, show up live because this is a special bonus I'm going to give you. And then we had a countdown clock. And this little concept here, this little like homework step, that's something we used to do back in the days, back when I was doing teleseminars, and I haven't seen people do these for years, but we added this to our thank you page. And like I said, we had people affiliates who made over $3,500 before the webinar even started by registering down here. So there's a lot of reasons why you can do this right here. It doesn't have to be a continuity program. A lot of times we've seen people who just take like a $37 or a $97 version of their homework or of their product and say, hey, go buy this so you're prepared for the webinar. But there's a lot of free money that can happen just by having that on the thank you page. And down here, we just had kind of a recap of what they're getting and things like that. Okay, so that was the registration page. Now, inside of ClickFunnels, one cool thing you can do is we have this option called an instant opt-in, where when somebody's sending out an email broadcast, you can talk to them. And again, when you do an email broadcast to your own list, or email broadcasts when you're buying solo ads and things like that, or an affiliate list, where they can literally they have a special URL. Again, if you're inside of ClickFunnels, you can go and click on Instant Opt-in. In fact, I'll show you real quick. Let me pause this and go into ClickFunnels. Okay, so here inside ClickFunnels, there's a little button here that says Instant Opt-in. If you click on that, you pick the email service provider the person's using. So if they're using Aweber, you click on that. And then this is the link you have someone click on to register. What will happen is this little email, this is what Aweber, it'll pull that person's email address into the email. And if they click on that, it'll automatically subscribe them to the webinar. So it bypasses this page, it automatically subscribes them and drops them onto this page, which we started doing for our campaign and had just amazing success. And so using Instant Opt-in is awesome. Again, depending on what autoresponder you're using. So if you're using Fusionsoft, that's what it needs to look like, the link. If you're using something different, you just kind of do it for whatever autoresponder you're using. And that's the link that they click on inside the email. And it'll auto-subscribe them to your GoToWebinar and then take them to step number 2 in the funnel. So that's kind of a little trick that we learned that had huge dramatic impacts for how much money we made from the webinar. Now, most people's webinar funnels, that's it. There's a registration page, a thank you page, and people get on the webinar, and that's kind of it. But I want to show you, again, behind the scenes of what we're doing that works really, really well, and hopefully give you guys some ideas as you're mapping out your webinar funnels. So after they've gone through this, then we start sending them an email sequence leading up to the webinar. And so what we did is we looked at like the really successful product launch funnels, and most of them have 3 videos leading to like this big offer reveal. And so we thought, let's do the same thing, but let's do that here inside of the webinar funnel. So they register for the webinar, and then that same day they get video number 1 in our product launch sequence, which is me. For this example, it's me and Mandy, and she's going through and she's making out. She's competing with Chris here in the Octagon to make a funnel, and then I go to the office and I actually build out this entire funnel, which is where that picture came from. Okay, so that's kind of what I did here, and then again I have another call to action to get their free ClickFunnels account. Then I have the recap of when the webinar is starting, all those kind of things down here as well. And then I have video number 2 coming. So then the next day they get an email with video number 2, which is how to design your funnel. I show them this video. It's really fun of Mandy and Chris here in the Octagon. Let me see if I can. So I show them in the Octagon. Then I actually go to the whiteboard and I map out her funnel with her. And it's not going to scroll with me, but I map out her funnel with her here. And then we go back to the Octagon to actually build it out. And then again, I give them a call to action to create their thing. And then video number 3, they get. Sometimes this video comes before the webinar, sometimes it comes after. It doesn't really matter, but here's video 4 now, where we go through and she finishes her funnel out, and then I go into ClickFunnels and I do a whole demo. So they have a chance before the webinar or maybe right after the webinar to be resold on ClickFunnels. And then there's another call to action, and everything else is in there. Okay, so that's kind of the concept, you guys, that has made our webinar funnel so successful. Is not only are we doing the registration thank you page, we also have this warm-up sequence, this indoctrination sequence that goes out to them after they've registered, to get them more likely to purchase our product when they get on the webinar or to sign up for our homework step. And then after the webinar is over, then we push them to a replay funnel where they can go and they can watch a replay of the event as well. And this page obviously makes us a lot of money as well. So that's kind of the current process that we use for our webinar and our automated webinar funnels. I hope that gives you guys some ideas on how to model a very successful funnel.